to see an Akashic record reading that I did with a client. However, I wanted to stipulate that my power went out during the session. And so for the last 10 minutes, it was not recorded and I had to meet with her on FaceTime instead. And so when you were watching it, when you get towards the end and we're kind of mid-sentence and it just goes off, that is why. Oh, it's 11:11 on my phone, but there is a ton of information that is going to be super beneficial for your journey as well. And so we'll go ahead and get into it. Before we hop into the session, I'm going to go over a couple of things. Before we connected, I pulled you some oracle cards. We're not going to go over them in the session, but I will send you pictures and guidebook descriptions, and that'll be a deeper level of messaging. And then I asked each one of your chakras what kind of crystals would help with your healing and your growth. And I built you a crystal grid, which I'll send you pictures of afterwards as well. There's nothing that you have to do with it. However, if you ever want to look at the picture and get a power up or a boost up from the session or help with remembrances, you can look at it and it'll help in that capacity. And then I will send you the replay of the session either today or tomorrow, depending on when it gets done processing. Does that sound okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so with the notes that you left me here, we have past lives and how that is not necessarily affecting, but what connection that has with some trauma that we have experienced in this lifetime. Spiritual gifts, any illusions that we have with our identity, ancestors, spirit guides, psychic intuitive blocks, physical misalignments on your left side, feminine side, gut issues, and unexplained health diagnoses. Does that sound right? Okay, we're going to see what we can get through in the next hour. I did have a lot of things come through from your higher self. So before we got on, so we'll go over those. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what is going on with your energy healing abilities right now, or what's going on with the psychic and intuitive blocks?
Okay, yeah. I mean, physically, I've been on the Kundalini journey for like since 2020. So that energy will go out my body on its oown terms, and or unless I meditate, then it will be even stronger. But I just have that every time it goes up my left root sacral area, it's jammed, and it'll go through in deep meditations, but it like it's a bit painful, and I feel like it's causing physical misalignments now, because it's like every day for the last 4 years, just boom, like going up. So and I know there's some sort of, I don't know, emotional blockage or something. I've had a lot of past like dreams that make me feel like there's unresolved things that I don't know about myself or about my history. And I can tell I have access to the unknown, and crown chakra is really open, but I don't really know how to make sense of it. And I'm not sure like exactly what's my strongest suit within my psychic abilities, because it's kind of like sporadic and different channels at different times.
Yes, so there's no consistency to or tangibility. Okay, we know we can do it, but how exactly do I use it? Yes. Okay. Are you practicing with anybody currently?
Well, I practice with like a group.
Oh, great.
I do alchemy work. So working with like light alchemy. I'm just getting into fire alchemy. I haven't really stepped into earth. So I'm going through like the process and the shadow work and all of that. So we did that first, and now I'm getting into the next chapter. So yeah, it's like an online group, and they're really helpful.
Awesome. Okay. So are y'all going to go through all of the elements?
Yes, I'm planning for it. Yeah, it's a process though. Like I got through the light alchemy, which there was a lot of shadow work that was needed before getting into more of that. And then my life really shifted after that. So it was like that was kind of like the first phase, and then now I'm feeling ready to get into the fire, and like I've been sitting with flame every single day, and just working and breathing and connecting with that fire. Similar to the light, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just practicing my deeper meditations and like my claircognizance. I can't pronounce it, but
claircognizant. You got it.
Yes. Okay. That one feels the strongest to me. But it's really sometimes hard to make sense of it. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. Which is really funny because you pulled the universal light card. So if that's
Ah,
information for you. Okay.
there we go.
Also, if I can pick it up here. Oh, you pull, hold on. There we go. Oh my gosh. You also pulled a rainbow card, which is very representative of things. Oh, is your camera? Hold on. Ooh. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, my camera froze for a second. My apologies. Okay. So he also pulled a rainbow card, which is very representative of many of the different elements coming together in unison. And so
Okay.
that's confirmation that you need that you're on the right track with that path.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So
no.
your higher self also, when people are thinking about the elements, oftentimes they're thinking of, fire and water and earth and air and ether and, light. Lightning is one of
Mm.
the elements that a lot of people don't always pay special attention to, and it can be really beneficial in your healing processes. So if you want to add that one in there, even if it's of your own accord, they recommend that.
Oh, that's crazy because I just was on TikTok and I saw a story about a girl getting struck by lightning. And so then
Oh
I
wow,
was like,
okay. That's a
I
more
was,
negative aspect of it, but
no,
yeah.
no, no. She was talking about this. She was fine. She ended up being
Oh,
fine.
okay, okay.
It was, she was talking about the story and like how it happened. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then, so that's wild.
Yes. Yeah.
Fine.
So lightning, when you work with that element and you are doing healing or channeling, sometimes if you are having trouble perceiving or accessing certain things, it can act as an accelerant to
Mm,
help you kind of bust through obstacles or filter lenses or
sure.
distortions. But with anything in life, you have to call on it. It's not just going to show up.
Yeah.
So this can help you with your channeling and perceive abilities with yourself, without other people, obviously. But it sounds like you need that for your own persona right now. So
Yeah.
with working with the elements, is that group teaching that you can actually connect with the overarching consciousness of the elements to speak with them as if they are a person?
Yes.
Love.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Connecting with the, like, what's the word they used? I can't think of it. But yes, pretty much exactly what you said. Yeah.
Great. Okay, we're dabbling in some
With the
shamanic
element.
practices.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. There is a video that I'm going to send to you. His name is Alberto Villadovo, and he talks about the four energy bodies: physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, and how they differentiate from one another. And he's
Okay.
a psychologist and a shaman. And when I watched that, it was very activating, but helped me understand connecting to consciousness like that. And I think it would be great for you. So I'm going to send it to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So are you practicing on other people in the group, or is it y'all are communicating with one another
Our
about what is
experiences more.
happening?
Yeah. Or just
Got it.
like, I mean, a lot of them are also, they do energy work and stuff. And so sometimes they'll get like group messages or, collective messages. And then just, or if there's questions, like it's a Facebook group. So they'll be like, hey, I've been working on this, because it's a course. So,
Mhm.
yeah, they'll be like, I'm stuck on this one. Like, what was your guys' experience? So we kind of just connect in that way. And then there are people who've asked, like, can I practice energy work if anyone's open? I want to get there, but I don't really feel like I'm quite ready for it. Or I maybe tried it a little bit on my family, but it's like
Mhm.
intuitive experience than really like being professional, like lead into it. Um, but I do feel like that's gonna happen eventually. I hope I can get to that. I just more need clarity around myself. I feel like there's a blockage within me in order to like exude that forward.
Yes, I know what you mean. When I first started channeling, I was having a very difficult time hearing and perceiving things. My strongest gifts are clairsentience and claircognizance, and there's not a whole lot
Okay.
of evidence for that. I wasn't seeing images or hearing anything, so it's kind of frustrating in the beginning. And I will say, not to push you into it, okay? But this is for kind of a couple chapters from now, that working with other people is the thing that accelerated my channeling abilities.
All right.
Because when you were
Okay.
trying to work on yourself, there are biases, and you get real up in your head and you're not getting a feedback loop. And so you don't know if what you're doing is working because the imposter syndrome and the biases are creating filter lenses and distortions. Right. But then when you're working with somebody else and you can tell energetically if they are shifting, if you are helping them meet their goals, if they are having mindset shifts, if they're giving you feedback, that's where you can really take off and soar. But you have to work through that imposter syndrome of I'm not ready. And we're going to work through some of that today. Okay,
cool.
to get you there. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about what came up in your energy field. So when I went in there, I met with, well, at first I didn't know who it was, but I was sitting there and we were at like a log cabin, which I thought was really interesting. And we were sitting outside of it on this bench, and there was like this light overhead, and it was dark outside. And I looked over next to me, and I was like, "Who are you?" And it was your higher self. I was like, "Why are you being so elusive?" So I started talking to her, and I was explaining why I was here. And obviously she knows, but I like to verbalize. So she said, let's take a look at what's going on together in your energy field. And she pulled out a book, which was supposed to be representative of your Akashic records. It looks different for everybody, but yours was a book today. And so we start looking, and I said, okay, well, where do I need to go to get more information? Because I could tell that it was somewhere that I was needing access to that was outside of what your higher self was able to provide me, because you have had this calling of there's some things going on from different planetary systems and I need access to that, right? So she showed me in the book. Do you know how you can find what are those things called? Longitude and latitude? Like on maps or when people just talk about it.
Coordinates?
Yeah, coordinates. Okay, coordinates. So she showed me a coordinate and I tried to take off to those coordinates. She was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She said, we need to triangulate the coordinates, is what she said. And she said, there's multiple places you need to go to. I said, okay. So I sat back down and I did that. And I said, okay, I got it. Do you want to come with me? And she said no, which I thought was really interesting. Wow. I've never had a higher self say no before to traveling. She's like, yeah. I said, okay, can I ask why you don't want to come with? And she said, I don't want my perceptions to muddle up the information that you're going out to find, which I thought was really interesting. So that's a testament to how self-aware that you are and your higher self of, no, whatever you go get, it's great. Go get some outside perspectives, because your higher self is just one perspective in this incarnation, right? We have higher selves from here. We have higher selves from different dimensional planes. The one that I was speaking to is the higher self here from Earth, almost like future you in this incarnation. And she said, no, go get what you need. I said, okay, which I thought was very virtuitous. Okay. So I was looking through this telescope up at the stars, trying to figure out where I was going. And then I snapped my fingers and I ended up on the planet Lyra. Do you know about that planet?
No.
Okay, with the feline beings.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm on the planet, and this gentleman came up to talk to me with a feline being, and he told me his name was Caesar, or that you can call him Caesar. And I said, like the dog food brand, and he didn't think that was funny. He was like, no. So I said, oh, is she Lyran? Is that why I'm here? And he said, yes, it's one of her genetic makeups. So you've had incarnations there previously. He said that one of your gifts is being able to help people recognize the paradigms they identify with and how to step outside of them. Okay, so paradigms, all right, I'm reading from my notes down here. That's why I'm looking down. But paradigms are classified as habitual ways of thinking and behaving that lead to the results that you get in life. Okay, so we all live in our own individual paradigms, but then we live in bigger collective paradigms as well. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody about, and you've seen this probably in the Matrix, and she was saying that I want to be able to fly. So one, you have to work through your own individual programming of saying that you cannot do those things, right? But then you have to work through the bigger collective paradigm of all these people thinking that we can't do that.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes you can wholeheartedly believe in something for yourself, but there's an overweighing of the bigger collective paradigm that kind of muddles up your own experiences. Okay.
Mhm.
So paradigms also include roles that people take on, like I'm a mom, I'm a doctor, I'm an environmentalist, whatever that is. Personality traits, like if somebody says I'm shy, I'm confident, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, whatever they identify with. Past traumas, saying I can't do X, Y, Z because of this back here, right?
Mhm.
It also includes programming from society, religion, culture, or social media. Okay. Do you know who Bob Proctor is?
Sounds familiar, but um,
He is one of the pioneers on paradigms
okay.
and helping people with subconscious mindset reprogramming. He explains paradigms very exactly, very, very well. I highly recommend checking him out. You can go on Google and just type in Bob Proctor paradigms or on YouTube, and it will give
Right.
you a good understanding of what that is. And it's going to help open up and activate that within you. And you're like, oh,
Okay.
yeah, I know how to do this.
Cool. You know,
Okay.
I do recognize that. I see through people's I see through, I can see, I mean, I've never seen it in that light how you mentioned it, but I
Mhm.
do notice people's identifications and seeing
Yes.
that like they're putting themselves in the box.
Yes. Well, that's a type of spiritual gift. Sometimes,
Cool.
sometimes the things that we're able to do, we don't because it's not Reiki, not
Yeah.
light language. Okay. And I tell people all the time that, being a good leader or being accountable or motivated or determined or being able to hold sacred space for others, being an active listener, all of those things are just as valid as Reiki and light language or being an Akashic record. Like they're all beautiful, unique abilities, right? That is one of your strongest suits, and that is very much needed in a collective. Like very much needed. There are so many humans that are trapped in the programming or their
Mhm.
traumas or their identities, and that's why we are where we're at in the world right now. So we need people like you to help them bust out of that.
See.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not to invalidate other type of modalities because they're just as beneficial, but where we're at in the current state of the world, paradigm busters are the ones that are needed right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
see that. I see that.
Yes. So we need to celebrate and honor our gift that we have. Okay. And that is
Oh,
very special.
yeah.
So your higher self said that we need to find, when we're talking to people, we need to find common denominators, is what she said. And I said, don't hit me with the math. Okay. The math references. So this would be words, actions, and behaviors that they are exhibiting. And we need to take where they're at currently in life, where they're trying to get to, and figure out what is not incongruence. Right. So this is probably something you already do.
And like yeah, naturally. Because when I
Mm-hmm.
do connect with somebody, I can like talk to them for hours and like I feel like I'm just reading. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. There's not really words for it, but that makes sense.
And what I kind of see you doing is seeing like a almost like a dissertation about that person's life, like almost like on a form of like, here's all the things that are blocking you up in life. Okay.
I could do that.
So oh, go ahead.
No, I said I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You're like, okay, this. So after she told me that, I saw you, your energy body, and you had this bag that was kind of like open on the ground, almost like this cloth, and it had a energetic grid, almost like a tic-tac-toe square, but like with a whole bunch of squares. And you took somebody's paradigm and you put it in the bag, and then you like tied it up and put it on a stick and like threw it over your shoulder. And I was like, what are you doing? And you said, come with me. And so I started walking with you. And you opened up the bag, and then we sat on the ground together, and it turned into a chessboard. And what you were doing is, you know how if you're sitting with the chessboard, okay? So I would be playing on this side, and then there'd be somebody else over here. So the chessboard was representative of this side over here that you were looking at. Those were all of the challenges that people are facing in life, or that they were going to face later on. And they were coming towards the person, and you were helping move the chess pieces so they didn't have to get captured by the life challenges. And your higher self said that you have the archetype of a strategist.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay. So you were able to save people a lot of time and energy and help them understand themselves and what's going on in their fields. But first, you have to explain to them the paradigm that they're in the first place, because that's why they're stuck. They don't know.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Questions about that?
I don't think I have any at the moment.
Yes.
So like, I guess I would see the strategist as like strategizing their way through the paradigm that they're in.
Yes. So they're trying, so they have a goal over here. That's them being able to win the chess game. Okay, win at life. Okay, if you will. And you're just helping them make movements around the board to make it easier for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whole game.
Yes. Very cool game. Okay. So oftentimes when energy healers are supposed to be helped, not supposed to be, when they're wanting to help other people with things, you are often having to work through the thing that you want to help other people with. So your higher self was saying you personally have paradigms that you're trying to get yourself out of right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start looking at ourselves through that lens of, oh, I'm just in a paradigm right now. Like when you were talking about the physical pain that you're experiencing and the gut issues and all of that, it's real. That's a real reality, right? But we've also identified with being that person. And so that is why it continues to occur. We have identified with being a person who is not ready to help others or who has blocks, who is not able to hear or see or perceive clearly. And so our paradigm just continues to loop. When you see that that is a paradigm that you can step up out of, it's very easy to let go of it. Okay. What is going to help you with that is for you to do a deep dive on what paradigms are. You already know what they are. I know that you know what they are, but listening to other people talk about it is for you in your own paradigms. Because yeah, we know what's going on with other people. Okay, but we don't see that for ourselves. Okay. So we need somebody outside of us telling us what paradigms are for our ego and our subconscious, because it's easy to spot in others.
Okay.
But we get stuck in our own things.
Yeah.
Right. And I know it's very difficult when we are experiencing pain or physical illness to get out of paradigms because you're tired and you are in pain. Okay. But after today, if you really do some deep dives in those areas, it's going to be a lot easier for you to detach from that identity, because now we can see like, oh yeah, of course I had to go through this because this is my gift. I have to be able to help other people with it. So I have to get myself out of it so that yes, because we can only see in others what we see in ourselves. We can only help others with what have moved out of or are currently moving out of ourselves. And so this is the day that kickstarts that. Okay, for you to start working through that physical pain.
Okay.
Okay. So your higher self wanted me to ask you a question. And this, do you listen to Bashar?
Bashar. Oh yeah.
Bashar. Okay, this is a question that he poses often. Okay, not just with physical pain or health issues, but a lot of different things. Okay. Why do you think it's beneficial to hold on to your physical pain? How is it serving you? In what capacity?
I don't know if I know if it's serving me. Maybe I don't know how to let go of it. I'm not sure, but I probably do know, but
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there can be a million bajillion different reasons as to why. Most oftentimes that I see with clients is it's because of safety reasons. It can either or it can be because we've always been that way, so it's a part of our identity, right? And who are we without this? Okay.
It's always been, yeah. So
There is another reason, and I'm not saying this is for you, okay, but there's another reason of sometimes as children we are ignored, and being sick or having physical pain and illness is the only way that we feel seen, heard, and validated. And so we'll hold on to it. Okay. And this might be for you to hear for people's paradigms in the future, because I'm sure this will come up. Okay. Another reason is we could be afraid of success because you know how powerful you are, but that's really scary, especially if you have been demonized or persecuted or made to feel weird, or you're too sensitive, or you don't fit into the world. Okay. And if we put ourselves out there, there's a propensity for us to be hurt even more. And so your body will not allow you to access your full channeling abilities because it's like danger, danger, danger.
that makes sense.
Okay. So there could be multitudes of reasons. You need to do some deep discovery with your physical body of why are you trying to keep me safe? What are you trying to keep me safe from? What are you trying to prevent from happening?
Okay.
What comes up when I say that?
I would say power, like stepping into, because the times that I have felt like I was really stepping into that next level of my power, feeling that, um, something always seemed to like, and not that I feel like I've manifested this, I'd always come with like an optimistic mindset, but something would happen or my body would break down or
Mm,
something would get in the way. It would like destruct it or like manipulate that power in some form or like, and I don't want to blame it on something else, but I know internal, so external, but like it was something external that would like stomp on it almost. But
mhm.
again, that's comes back to something internally happening. Um, but yeah, I always feel like I've never been able to like bust through that door and I would feel physical pain again, or I'd feel like a aftermath of doing something that I really wanted to do, but it was painful or either physically or emotionally or
What do
spiritually.
we think is going to happen if we bust through?
I I guess what I assume it would happens, I would feel better, but that doesn't happen usually. I feel like I didn't actually do it, or like I said, something comes along, or I get really sick. Like I'll get randomly
Mm-hmm.
sick, or like get the flu, or crazy like stomach ulcers, or something that just doesn't make any like logical sense.
Yes.
Especially with like my health lifestyle. So there's a disconnect there for sure.
What do we think the negative ramifications would be if we step into our power in totality?
The first thing that comes up is this evil eye, but that's something that I feel like if I'm in my power, it's something I would be able to, you know, not let affect me to a magnitude.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dissect that a little bit. So, what do you mean by the evil eye? Because that means different things for different people.
I would just the projections people have on me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then again, that would be me like projecting to at them, right? I don't know.
I mean, you already probably getting projections from other people. See, there's sometimes there is a vortex that we find ourselves in of I don't resonate with anybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to continue to happen, and I'm going to get more negative experiences and projections, but the opposite is actually true. The
Right.
opposite was we bust through and then we start meeting more magical people that are in alignment with us and do support and love us and that make our life feel, happy being here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
But if all you've ever known is hurt and heartache, and disassociation with other people and not feeling in resonance, that's a paradigm.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like
Yeah.
I've experienced really great, beautiful humans, and that are supportive and accept me for who I am. But it's almost like I have a hard time receiving that love, and
Mhm.
I do still subconsciously have a fear behind what the other people might be thinking, or like what others. Well, because there I have had experience, lots of experiences in the past, or even if I'm surrounded by a good support system, there will be one person that doesn't, or they're like I'm not even affiliated with them, but they speak out or something, and I'm like, and it kind of like breaks me back down to square one with like one that like I'm sensitive.
Yeah, there's like 100 people that love us, and then that one person you're like, dang, now I gotta do better. Okay. So what is the fear if we have 99 people who really love us and that one person who doesn't like us or doesn't agree with us, right? Or hates us? What
Yeah.
is the fear behind there? Like, what's going to happen? What are the
Um,
negative ramifications? And that could be from the other person or it could be from self.
I mean, I don't feel like any like in the past, I guess I feel the energy from them, and I feel I've had spiritual attacks. I've had lots of random things that I don't know how to make sense of that I've had to go get spiritual help with because it was like I don't like to watch dark movies and dark stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I can't take it, but I would experience these things, or if I close my eyes, I would see it, and I'm like, this isn't my energy. And so getting like whether it's unconscious from them or consciously doing it, just receive like I tune into that, or I'm receiving energies that aren't mine, and that I guess I don't want more of that.
Yes. Okay. So we feel their disdain, whether that is coming from their subconscious or their conscious mind. Okay. Why do you care?
Because it affects me. Do I let it affect me?
Why are we letting it affect us?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So I think that if we bust through that, I don't like to call them blockages, but like those filter lenses and distortions and like really step into our power, there's some fears of, we're probably going to be even more polarizing and we're going to have to experience more of that feeling that we don't like. But the feeling that we don't like, the only reason that's affecting us because we think there's an underlying truth
Mm,
underneath what those people are feeling about us. So that is a self-worth thing.
see,
Because otherwise, why would you care? You're
right.
like, okay, they're not my cup of tea. They're not my wavelength. They're not my people. Okay, let me go be with people that really enjoy me. And I get it. It's a form of people pleasing. It's probably there's a safety mechanism up under there.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I've been in that position though where I'm like I couldn't care less about what they think of me, or like that's I don't want to be around that. That's not even that isn't my cup of tea. And I do stay around people, but it's like it's almost like it floats right here. It's like maybe I have like a glass shell, but it's like still right here.
Yeah, it's almost like an entity, but it's not an entity. I don't want to make it sound like that. Okay, it's more of your shadow aspect that's coming to the forefront and trying to mirror that to you. And what you're doing is you're perceiving that as a negativity because it doesn't feel good. Okay, because it's cutting at our self-worth, but it's doing that to show you that there's something in here that is resonating with the truth of what that person is feeling and experiencing towards you. So it's trying to help you work through that.
See.
Yes. Okay. What comes up when I say that?
Uh, I mean anything related around like my self-doubt I've had with myself, or things I've I've always had a hard time seeing myself and maybe a light that other people might see me.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who do see me in good light, right? Or see the qualities, I don't always see that ever, really, honestly.
Sure.
So,
So one of the things that I was talking to your energy body about, and I'm gonna have to tell you about a conversation we had with one another. One of the reasons that you have a lot of blocked energy in your body is because you are not recognized, honored, or praised for what you're able to do and your multidimensionality is being suppressed and it's coming through as physical ailments. Like you have so much magic that it's not going anywhere because of the fear of probably what we've been talking about of becoming more polarizing and having to feel that intensity level of disdain from others sometimes. I will tell you that there is a period where you have to start being weird and woo-woo and come out of the witch closet, okay? And people around you start being like, what's going on? Okay. Once you get past that, there were so many people in my life who love them, okay? We were not on the same wavelength, and it made me feel very lonely and isolated. The more authentic that I became, and really started believing in myself and expressing my multidimensionality, I only have magical people around me now that are super supportive. And I love talking about woo-woo stuff. And I just do energy healing and channeling and talk about magic all day long. Okay. So that is a process that you're going to have to go on with your inner children and step up as that higher self form and be like, listen, I know that we do not have any evidential basis for life being so much more beneficial on the other side, but this is something you're gonna have to trust me on. And we're gonna have to make forward movement in order to get ourselves into that reality and into that life. Even if you or them are scared. Okay. Because you know that that's going to be your life. You probably started to see that come in, right? Higher self is kind of saying, hey, we need to hit that gas pedal a little bit more.
Totally. Yeah.
Because right now we're in limbo land. We're in the void. Okay, we're in the void. We're in limbo. We're not making the forward movement that we want to because of the fears and because our body is kind of going on defense mode.
Yeah. Oh, and also like I didn't ask for this information, but I had gone to a psychic about being stuck with my career like 2.5, 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned like she just started like spewing out stuff, and she mentioned how like in past lives I was brutally murdered for coming forward about like I was spiritual in the past, and I knew things like with herbs and stuff like that, and certain medicines that were frowned upon because it was witchy is pretty much. And I've had dreams experiencing those realities, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, I've seen myself, like I've seen that in my dreams. So I'm like, why am I getting strangled in this dream right now for being in my cabinet looking at herbs, whatever. So it all makes sense. Like, so I don't know if like there's also an attachment from the past life of the subconscious fear that that's going to happen again, even though it's a different reality now. But
well, that's probably why when you feel disdain from others, when I just say disdain, I don't mean that super intensely disdain, but we can just feel that there's like something off between us and somebody else's energy field, and they can't figure you out. They're giving you like, oh, you're weird. Okay, like that. Okay, so if we have different incarnations that have experienced persecution or have been killed, that's probably why it feels so incredibly intense to you compared to somebody else who's just dealing with some people-pleasing things. Okay. And so there's multidimensional trauma in your cells and in your DNA, and your body screaming, I need to keep you safe, right? So this is representative of another paradigm. Sometimes when I meet with clients and they have past life traumas, yes, we're showing those things to better understand what's going on, but that's not your incarnation in this one.
right.
And so sometimes we're looking at the past and saying, oh, I can't do this because X, Y, Z, even if it's in our conscious or unconscious mind, right? So what would be more beneficial for you to do is try to go out and find some past lives when you get to that level of channeling that were very successful as healers and shamans and priestesses or whatever they were doing, so that you have real examples of versions of yourself where they were thriving and they helped their community and their collective, not just hyper focus over here of what has been done to us in the past. I'm not saying to ignore that,
Yeah.
because it is beneficial to understand. And it is really beneficial to help other people in their paradigms that have also experienced past life traumas. But we don't want to let that define us because this is not that.
Yeah.
We live in a completely different world. We have social media that connects us all, and we're able to band together and have more strength with one another. And it's not seen as wild now to be an energy healer, right? And to do
Oh,
these
yeah.
things. Okay.
Gosh.
Right. Especially with the
Absolutely.
things that you do in this gift specifically. Like we're going to talk about a different gift here in a second that's a little bit more woo woo.
Okay.
But this one right here is like, I help people with their goals.
Great.
Okay. I'm a life coach. Okay. You can call
Yeah.
it whatever you want. But you helping people figure out why they have blocks in their life, that's not something that's probably going to get you persecuted like some other things you probably did in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Okay. Okay, what comes up when I say that?
Um, I think of the medieval times. I have a really vivid memory of a dream that keeps coming up every time I think of that topic.
Yes.
And uh I mean also like I've it's like swamp. Like, I thought it was interesting that my higher self was at a cabin. Was there water around?
Not necessarily there wasn't. I didn't see it because I was hyper focused on your higher self. Like sometimes I don't always get the full picture. I just get what I'm meant to see. So if it's a log cabin, there's probably water
A
around.
lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had dreams of like being at a lake. I was told I was drowned in a lake, pregnant, and like I also
Mm,
have a vivid dream of me being stabbed and then falling into a lake. But that's a different dream that I had versus the one that got strangled. So I don't know if it's like different time, different both different past lives or just like this connection and then just to like the swampy water. So when you were talking about that, all of that was coming up into my picture.
I think
Um,
you've been really hyper focused on finding things within your field that explain why you're blocked in this one,
yeah.
which great. We love that. Self-aware queen. Okay. We need to need to pivot a little bit.
Making myself crazy
Okay,
over
we need
here.
to pivot, yeah, a little bit. And those dreams that you have, and when you wake up and you remember them, which sounds like you might have some dream interpretation gifts there. You might want to further explore. Okay, maybe it doesn't have to be in that context. Okay, there's
Oh, but yeah,
things that we can help
so
with.
many.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll use
but
those.
when we wake up and remember those things, what we need to be saying over our energy field is that is not my timeline.
Mm.
If you want me to help you with that, if that's why you're coming forward, I would love to help you heal that in your timeline. That is not mine, though. We need to differentiate between those because right now you're absorbing that as okay, this is coming through because this is me. What if they're coming to you because you are a really great energy healer and you can help them release that trauma from that timeline and they're calling upon you
Oh,
and they're saying, help me
yeah.
because what is your gift? What is your gift? You are a strategist helping people with things and getting blocks out of their way. Okay. Now, just because you can do that doesn't mean that you have to. There are some times when people do not have the proper channeling abilities yet, and you need to shut those channels down. You do not need to be helping those past lives because you don't have the tools and resources, and it's
Yeah.
causing more stress and anxiety and trauma in your life. Okay, so that's going to be up to you and your higher self. If you don't help them, another version of you will.
Okay.
You're not the only one. If you want some practice and you want to help them through that, it would accelerate your ability to see different timelines.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of check in with yourself and say, where am I at in life? And do I have the energy to help them with this? And if not, I need to ask my higher self to redirect them to somebody else in my field that can help them. I don't need to have an imbuement of other people's trauma if I'm trying to work through my own stuff right now. Okay, what comes up when I say that?
Just that, really. Yeah, that makes
Might just be a
sense.
timeline reader.
Maybe. Oh,
And they're like, oh, you can perceive me. I'm going to ask you for help.
yeah, that's true. My dreams are wild. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sure you understand.
I do. I would put out the request to your higher self and your energy field of right now, I do not have all the tools and resources that I need. I need y'all to start sending me past lives that were energy healers or priestesses or shamans or, you know, whatever they call themselves, that show me that I'm safe to be that.
I like that. That makes me feel really good.
That's what we need right now. Okay. Yes. Okay. So when I went deeper into your energy field, I met with your energy body, your astral body, and she was feeling a little stressed and anxious. And I said, how about we go relax somewhere together where we can talk? I said, we don't have to, but I'm here if you want to. And she said, no, I do want to. And I said, okay. So I took her to a hot springs and had these really like beautiful cherry blossoms everywhere. And I was playing this nice, relaxing music. And I asked her what was going on. And also the hot springs had a lot of minerals and salt in it. So I told her that was going to help with your physical body. And that's why we were there. And so I asked her what was going on. And she said, I miss being home. And I said, why do you miss that? She said, it's hard being here. I said, I get that. Okay. And I said, is it hard or is that a perspective? And she said, it's both. And I said, that's valid. Okay. And I said, well, what is hard about Earth here? And she said, I wish I knew more about myself. I said, in what sense? And she said, I want to know where I'm from. And I said, well, why can't you just be from Earth? Just a question. Okay. Yeah. Just to see what she was going to say. And she said, well, I know I'm from Earth, but I want to know where else. And I said, okay, well, we learned about Lyra today. Okay. That you have some incarnations. And then she kind of got sad. And I said, well, why are you feeling that way? And she said, and she couldn't really explain why she kind of had that somberness that swept over her. And I said, do you think that knowing where you're from is going to make it easier to traverse the earth plane? And she said, I don't know. I said, okay. I said, I think what you're trying to do is find your star family embodied here on earth. Because you haven't really had a sense of feeling at home here. Like we know we're from elsewhere in the stars. Earth is one of your homes too, though. So that's where we have to kind of get her on board with that of, hey, it can be your great existence here. One of the reasons that she has not been feeling that way is because your magic's been stifled. It's been pushed down, your multidimensionality. We're hiding that. Okay. And
so I'm in a closet.
Yes.
Like I'm home and it like comes out. And I'm like, wow, I love this world. And then I leave my home and I'm like,
yes. And we're not able to find our people because we are in hiding. Okay. So I said, what you need to do, or what you need to be able to do, is to see different star races. So when you look at people, be able to tell where they're from. So you can find who you're in congruence with. Okay, you can find your soul tribe members. I said, what you need is an upgrade to your spiritual eyes. And she said, oh, okay, I'm on board with that. I said, okay. So I said, let me figure out what we need to do here. So I went through my directory in my brain of all of the cosmic and etheric beings that I knew. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know anybody personally for that, like an optometrist almost. Okay. And so I called my dragon guardian Ankh and I was like, hey, do you know anybody? And he handed me this device. It was almost like a cell phone and it had all these contacts in it. And I was like scrolling through it. And I said, there's too many names in here. I can't, this is too much. It was overstimulating. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to put a call out into the universe and the cosmos and see who comes through. So then all of a sudden this lady landed in front of me. Her name is Nebula. Okay. Cool. Do you know people that dress in kind of like steampunk wear?
Steampunk?
Steampunk. Steampunk. It's like they wear like a lot of leather clothes. They have like mechanical, like machine type of what is the word I'm looking for? Adornments.
Interesting.
Look it up later. Steampunk. Okay.
Like as in steam, as in like steaming your clothes?
Yes, like steam and then punk. You can Google it really quick and then find like steampunk clothes.
Okay, let me see.
That way you can envision her a little bit more.
Steampunk. Oh.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
She was wearing clothes like that, which I thought was really interesting. Okay. And I told her that you needed an upgrade, and she said, "Oh, great, come to my shop." So we went to her business that she has, and she handed you some translator goggles to wear. Okay.
No,
And she
my
said,
eyes have been burning.
"Oh, okay. You probably been straining. Probably
Like
been
they feel.
straining to try and frequency read. That's why you need to upgrade to your spiritual device."
Sorry, I interrupted. Okay, so the stream.
No, you're good. You probably been straining with your physical eyes to frequency read,
Got it.
and you need assistance. So she's giving you these goggles until you can learn how to do it on your own. So that is going to help you identify when people are talking to you where they're from and what kind of galactic DNA heritages that they hold. And I'm going to give you some ways to develop that. Okay. So I said, okay, well, what would you like in regards to payment? Because this is not one of your spirit guides. She's coming to be one of your spirit guides and to be a mentor from you. But because she's not technically on your team beforehand, I was like, there has to be some type of energy exchange. I don't want to just like take something from you. And she said, well, I need an assistant in my shop. And I was talking to your energy body, and I said, do you want to help her? And she was like, what would I be doing? And Nebula said that you would be learning about new technology because that's what she does. She works on advanced technology for whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
She said that if you work in her shop, you would be able to meet a lot of different star races and utilize your goggles while you were talking to the people in the shop. So that's not something necessarily that you have to consciously do. That's something that your energy astral body can do. And I said, but there has to be an agreement between your astral and energy body and you as a human, right? There has to be
Right.
100% agreement for that. And so something that you can do, because I don't know where you're at with your meditation level yet, is actually go in and speak with Nebula, envision her. You can probably look up steampunk woman and try and get like a generalized like image of her and ask her to take you to that shop and show you around and teach you about some of that technology. You're gonna learn a whole bunch of things in that shop. She's got like all kinds of fun stuff in there.
That's wild that you like. That's crazy because I feel told to have to actually work into different technologies that I have no idea how
And there you
to
go.
start because I didn't come from like a tech industry. Oh, graphic design, but that's so that's really wild.
Yes, it's giving very much kind of like Nikolai Tesla because he was connected into the Akashic records and he was pulling a lot of that technology from the future to now, and he was probably learning from different cosmic beings and things like that as well.
I
So
feel that.
yeah, yeah.
I feel
So
that
you can do that if you want to with working with Nebula in her shop as her assistant.
That's good. I will have to definitely meditate on it. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so even if we don't do that, okay, some ways that you can develop being able to see other people's star races is there is a woman on YouTube, and I'm going to send it to you. She has a 3-part series where she channels 33 different star languages. If you listen to it, it's going to open up and unlock a lot of those templates for you to be able to recognize easier. So that'll kick it off. When you listen to that, okay, it's very activating, and I definitely don't recommend listening to while you're driving.
Okay.
You need to be at home where you could possibly take a nap afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I have listened to light language before, and it almost like triggered me. Like I had stuff.
Yes, this is going to be very much that, but on a grander scale. So just make sure we're at home or somewhere we can listen to it while we're grounded. Okay.
Can I take it in sections if I have to?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, do it however you want to do. I just want to make sure you're not driving while you're doing it. Nothing wild's gonna happen. But you know how sometimes when you blip on over into channeling and you kind of get a little spacey? I just want to make sure you're safe. Okay.
100%.
Okay. You can also learn about different star seeds on Google or on YouTube. This would look like learning about Sirians, Lyrans, Mentokans, Octurians, Pleiadians, as many as you can learn about, it's going to help you remember, and it's going to be able to help you see.
Okay. Yeah, I started looking into them and I felt like I resonated with like something from each of them. So it was like overwhelming. So then I
Yes.
stopped.
Yes. It might, one, it was probably not time because you need to hear this information, but when you were perceiving that information, what I am feeling in your field is, if all of this is resonating, then how do I know that any of it is really resonating? Because that's not technically why it was coming through. It's so that you can see other people's star lineages.
I see. Okay.
So,
Yeah,
yes, it is going to resonate with you with all of them because you're a reader of other people's stories.
that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
Now, also, to be honest with you, if you, okay, well, not if you, but with you having this gift, that means that you have been a lot of different star races for you to be able to read other people like that.